the photo was here.
She and Ramon,
Yeah.
Mogo Grau, their brother, they both ended up going to jail for like over 10 years. Because when Castro found out who the people were, he captured them, put them in jail. So they sacrificed their life to bring these kids over here. And I wonder some of the other people that you presented also went to jail. Were they the only
I really haven't done that, but as a matter of fact, before I forget, Rita is part of the library here. What, you're director of resources or something?
In research development.
Anyways, Rita has been instrumental in digitizing and putting online. You can just go on the FIU site and watch interviews of Monsignor Walsh and of James Baker. There's one more of Monsignor Walsh that they have to put up. And there's one more that I wish someday they'll be able to put up, which is an interview with Polita Grau. Now, it's about two hours of interviews, and maybe a fourth of it is about Pedro Pan or less. But I watched it, and you know how she tells the story of the politics in Cuba, even before, when President Grau and all that, she tells the history of Cuba from the point of view of somebody that was living it. You know, when she was living in the presidential palace. It's a wonderful interview with Polita Grau. So someday, hopefully, they'll be able to put it up.
And Eloísa, it wasn't me, it was the whole of the library. It took a lot of people and a lot of moving around
Yes, but
to
what I
get
know,
those
you're my
streaming.
friend,
But I
so-
want to mention that the other DVDs are available in special collections. You can make an appointment and go watch them there now. Only Walsh and Baker are streamed, but all the other ones are in special collections. Make an appointment,
So
say
someday
you
you
want
can
to
come and
watch
watch
it there, and you can watch it there. So you can see your aunt's interview there.
business card? So I can come over. Can
Yeah.
you give me your business card?
No, yes.
Yes.
I know. We can.
Anything else? I know people have to go back to class. Yes, Seda, my Pedro Pan friend from Washington, D.C.
Hey, Washington, D.C. I want to thank you very much for your presentation. I think it's wonderful, and I have a lot of the same events that happen to you, happen to me. If I first get there, ask for George, and then a lot of other things. But I just wonder, did the Castro regime knew about our exodus while it was going on?
People ask that, and there are different, of course they had to know. I mean, my airplane,
You know everything,
have,
right?
I mean, the whole airplane was full of kids by themselves. They had to know it. The thing is, the question is, why did they let it,
Right.
They allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
Why not? First of all, we had a passport, we had a visa waiver, we had a ticket, and those years it was $25, I think. So we were coming legally. So there was really no reason why they should stop us. Then there's also the belief that they wanted to let the kids out, because in that way they knew who were the families that were against the government. And then that would make those people against the government also get out of the island, because they had to go and, and be with their children. So there was many reasons. They had to know, of course they had to know, but there was, many reasons why they allowed it to happen. They couldn't stop it, and in that way they just got the people against them out of Cuba. Yes.
Well, also, there was a process from, I came in '61, I was lucky I came with my mother and my grandmother. But I remember my mother, like your father, had a visa. She had been here as a tourist. The visa hadn't expired. She came by herself to try and get me and my grandmother out. Because I was traveling with my grandmother, we had to jump through 25 hoops to leave the country, because we had bought a ticket through Pan Am. We had a seat in the plane when Castro one day got on TV and said, no, nobody leaves the country unless you get X, Y, and Z. You have to go and get from the Department of Housing a letter. You have to go and get from the Department of blah, blah, a letter. So we ran here, we ran there, there were lines. There were police that came with clubs to disrupt the lines, because the lines were a demonstration against the government, because they were the people that wanted to leave. We were the gusanos. So if I had been traveling by myself, the loophole was that children were not included in those regulations. They only apply to the adults. So basically, to answer your question, maybe that is why the children were allowed to leave alone, because none of those regulations apply to the children. They
Yeah.
only apply to their parents.
Also, there was another thing, that most of the parents thought that we would be able to go back soon. You know, most of the parents didn't believe that
Oh, I
Fidel
know.
Castro
I mean-
was gonna stay in Cuba, so why leave?
Yeah.
Let's wait. You know, they're being taken care of well, they're going to school, they're practicing their religion. As soon as this is over, they'll come back.
I attended Miami-Jackson High School, and I remember coming home after the day of the missile crisis, the whole big thing on TV and everything. My grandmother had packed our bags, because we're going back to Cuba. She literally had us
Yeah.
packed. She had suitcases, it's over, we're going
Yeah,
back.
okay, there's a question back there. Yes?
Yeah, I am a Pedro fan from the very early period. And one thing that surprises me that no one mentions is that at least in the case of my parents, they had to sign a document saying that once I left Cuba, and this was a Cuban document, once I left Cuba, they would lose patria potestad
Yes.
over me.
Oh, yeah.
I have met a lot of Pedro fan and I have asked them the question, did you ever see that document? And most people do not remember that.
No.
But I did have access to the document. I kept the document, and actually when my parents came back, my mother tore it up.
Well, I do have a document that is allowing us to travel alone with our parents. I have that document. I'll have to reread it and see if it has anything to do with
Yeah, it's a
giving
good
up the
point.
patria potestad. I don't know.
Eloísa,
Yes. Oh, yes, Jose.
the document, I have a copy of mine here with me. The copy says that the children are allowed to leave Cuba, and then when they arrive to the other side, they can be assigned to go to any other country as well. So basically, it wasn't surrendering patria potestad of the children. The way I looked at it, they were basically saying, we want our children to leave, which is the right thing to do, and we want them to give them to the hands of an organization that we can trust. So we have to give them permission to do whatever
Yes.
they can for our children.
Well, but in effect, that is
Well, I
also
understand.
patria potestad.
I understand, but it's in the hands of the Catholic Charities versus the Castro regime, so.
Exactly.
Joe, you came from Central Florida for this
No,
presentation? Where?
Papa Beach.
Oh, okay. Joe, you're a Pedro fan.
Thank you for the presentation. Got here a little bit late, sorry about that. And also want to wish you a belated happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yesterday was my
Anyway,
birthday.
in my case, I left with my older sister,
My friend,
yes, in March 1961. From that day on, she took the title of protector of me, which she refuses to relinquish to this day. Anyway, the experience of going to the airport and going through the process of, from the airport to the plane, haven't heard much of that, but in our case, we went in and we were put inside the peseta, which is the glass wall, and you're on the other side, and you're trying to say goodbye and so forth, which is obviously was very difficult for everyone. And then I remember beforehand, we were told, if you get questioned, just remember to tell them you're going to Jamaica. And I could never figure out why the plane would go from Havana to Miami and then Jamaica. And it made sense to me, but that's the way it was. Anyway, and they said, don't forget, you have $10 sitting in your shoe. Don't tell me you have any money. Okay, I was only 12 years old. So we did get taken into a room and asked, where are you going? Who are you going to go see? Oh, I'm going to Jamaica. Why? Well, my grandfather's dying, so I want to see him before he dies. So that was the...
this was in Cuba, in La
Yes,
Peseta.
that was the instructions we were given by our parents. This is what to say to the militia guys.
See, the thing about Jamaica, and I'm sorry that Armando, my friend, is not here because he went to Jamaica. When the American embassy closed in Havana, that was when Father Walsh said, well, this ended, too bad. Then I mentioned it here. The Jamaican government said that they would give us Jamaican visas. So we could go to Jamaica, and then from Jamaica, we could get a visa to the United States. And what happened many times, and I know Pedro Pans that did this, it was a KLM flight that went Havana, Miami, Kingston. And of course, their ticket and everything was to go to Kingston. But they were told, when you are in Miami, get off the airplane.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And they get off, and then they ended in Miami and San Pedro Pan. But some of them, maybe it was a nonstop flight, or they wanted to go to Jamaica, I don't know. But Armando, my friend, went to Jamaica, and he was there a few days, and then he got a visa from Jamaica to go to the United States. And
Eloísa, I wanted to say something else, that
yes,
50-some years after our exodus, there are still children coming in here by themselves. For instance, Anna, my friend here, had to send her child and all by himself because that's the only way she could get him out of the country. Today, he's an MIT graduate, so.
he's a Pedro Pan, right?
No, he's not.
Oh.
And she's not either, but
Well,
what I'm
she's too
saying
young.
is that after so many years, the whole situation, it's still going
I know that.
on. And there's no end to this.
I know. I hope that if someday I can retire, then I would like to spend some time with those children that are being housed here in Miami and spend some time with them. Those children, especially from Latin America, that are here alone without their parents. And yes, that's another story, you know. Anything else?
One more short
yes,
story,
yes.
I think, okay? This was told to me by Molo Brown, because he said he will go near the Mesera and watch the kids leave.
Yeah.
He said he told me this person, so I believe it. One time he was there waiting, and this lady came with a little baby and said, would you take this kid to, out of this, well, it wasn't even, and somehow he gave it to one of the he managed to get one of the youngers to come out, took the baby and said, just tell him it's your brother. And he took the kid, and he never heard him.
Yeah. Officially,
Amazing.
the age range is 6 to 16, but there were 3-year-olds, there were 2-year-olds, there were babies.
They were babies.
Because I have the log,
Yeah.
and I know their
I was 4.
birthdays and all that.
I was 4 when I met.
You were 4.
Wow.
And your mom, that was a similar case. Your father arrived, you were in Florida City, another one of the camps, but they said that it was better that your father didn't take you.
No.
They waited for her mother to arrive, and then when both of them were here, oh, Mercedes, I interviewed Mercedes' mom. Her mom is one of the interviews that are in the FIU library. So the only mom, yeah, the only mom that I have interviewed, because I haven't had time to do any more. I've been busy with other things in my life. So
Good for you.
Yeah, yeah. The only mom that I've interviewed, and it was an excellent interview with Mercedes' mom. So you can watch it.
Thank you very much, Eloísa, and
You're
thank you all
welcome.
for
Well, with the sound, it was good.